So why did you select that track?
So that's very interesting you asked that question, because obviously you might think it's quite sexual. So as an asexual person, because my brain doesn't think of sexual stuff, I don't think about that being in the lyrics. So when I think about living joy and dreamer, for me it's all about living your dreams and being happy and living in joy. And I tend to, like, my brain tends to filter out the other things, and I don't tend to focus on the sexual aspect. I tend to focus on the other meaning for me personally. So I do that with quite a lot of songs, actually. There's quite a lot of dance songs, and some of it have really highly sexual lyrics, but sometimes my brain thinks it says something else. Like if someone says they're in ecstasy, I'm thinking about, oh, I'm having a great time in my life. This is amazing. This is high octane energy. I'm feeling in an ecstatic state. And then I realise, I think this is meant to be sexual, Sandra. I'm like, but I don't think that way. So I don't even notice some of the times the lyrics. What I listen to in that is living joy dreamer and living up to your dreams and going for your dreams, which is what I'm all about. And then the more I listen to it, I'm like, oh, we'll all think, like, why am I listening to this? Because it's like hands and lips all over my body. But I am a hyper romantic and I am a hyper kisser, even though I'm asexual, which is quite rare for asexuals. A lot of asexuals aren't into kissing that much. I'm a hyper kisser, which is rare. I've never heard of anyone in the world being a hyper kisser. You're looking puzzled.
So when did you realise this?
So I realised I'm asexual in 2014. So basically I went to see a counsellor because the expectation of sex at the end of the night with a heterosexual guy was making me almost want to wet myself. So it's like a really scary feeling for me. This is so I have had sex in the past. I thought I was heterosexual. I'm going to say I am heterosexual, but I'm not. I thought I was heterosexual. So back then, when I had my last long-term boyfriend, that relationship ended in 2011, I thought I was heterosexual. I used to call myself heterosexual. But then after that, there was, I like young guys. I'm like into younger guys. So I'm an asexual cougar. If you are okay with that phrase, I'm fine with that phrase because it kind of separates me from people who like would go for someone more their own age, I guess. But I'm not interested in my birth certificate age. So in 2013, there was like this hot Bangladesh guy I was in a relationship with, but he actually cheated on me because I didn't want sex. And that's when I started to realise there's something really different about me. Like, he was really aesthetically hot. I loved kissing him, but it's like I didn't want sex. And I'm like, there's something weird going on here with me. Like, and so then when I did some more like thinking, I went to see a counsellor and I told her that I told her about the fact that, guys expect me to have sex with them at the end of the day, and it's making me almost want to wet myself, and it's really disheartening for me. And I really love kissing and cuddling, but don't want the sex. And she's like saying the worst thing possible to me. So she's saying like, you're going to have sex in order to keep a good guy. And I was just like absolutely horrified. I'm like, how can any guy be good for me if he's wanting me to do something in order to get love? And that's a damaging message that's sent out from society and people. That's, in order to be loved, you have to have sex. And this counsellor, she's a professionally trained NHS counsellor, she was telling me this, which is not what she should have been saying, because obviously that's not unconditional love, and also that isn't love. Love isn't sex. People go out, for example, to nightclubs and they have sex with people they don't love. So obviously sex and love aren't the same thing, and you can love without sex. And that's basically how I feel. Is like, if I love someone, I'm not interested in their genitalia. But that's how I found out I'm asexual. So it wasn't the counsellor that told me I'm asexual. After that, I was so horrified that I went and Googled asexuality. I went and Googled I love kissing, but not sex. And then it came up with asexuality. And then it came up with asexuality.org, which is the biggest online forum for asexuals. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like loads of people like me who want a romantic relationship without sex, for example. And I was like, oh my God, I literally thought I was the only person in the whole world that felt the way I do. I thought, I'm never going to find someone for a relationship. I'm still single at the moment, but happily single right now. But, I thought it was impossible to find someone without sex in a relationship. And I thought I had to have sex in the past because that's what society dictates. That you have to have sex in order to be loved, in order to have a healthy relationship. That's what's normal. So in my past relationships, I had sex with some of my ex-boyfriends at the time, obviously when I was in a relationship with them at the time, because that's what we're taught to do as a society. I didn't know any different. And so it was only then, like back in 2013 and then going to the council in 2014, I just knew during that period of time I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't bring myself to do it anymore. So I'm sex repulsed these days for me, but not for other people. So other people that like sex, want it, enjoy it, is consensual, I'm fine with that. You know, if everyone's happy doing that, that's great for them. But I personally don't want that for me. But I love kissing so much, and I have and I'm like a very rare asexual, because like I said, most asexuals don't like kissing. I'm a hyper kisser, and what that means for me is, which I've never heard anyone else use this term, is I can kiss for up to 4 hours or more and never get bored nearly non-stop.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty, I've come across hypersexuals. So I met someone online who was a hypersexual, and they were like, you know, they're able to have sex for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, I don't know how they do that without bits dropping off. But
well, no, hang on. Just to say, I think it is. This isn't exactly a breakfast show, but it's sort of daytime-ish. So don't
you be having this discussion at any time of day?
Well, you can, but you can't go into some details. I think we could skip over.
Am I going to get banned now?
No, I don't think so, no.
But I think there should be more open, honest communication about relationships and sex.
Sure, yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and I'm a hyper kisser, I'm not a hypersexual. I wanted to make that clear, because some people don't know the distinction. When I'm not interested in sex personally, I'm interested in just the kissing. That's it for me.
Right. Well, that will make sense.
Oh, good.
So just to sidetrack a little bit, because you're obviously into communications,
yes,
and all of those things. So I wonder, before these events in your life, what sort of content were you covering? What did you write about? What did you talk about?
So my first book came out in 2015 about redundancy, actually. So I have a background in retail sales management, which is very different. And I helped people who are redundant to get back into work. So I have got a book on Amazon, along with a lot of other books, including my asexual books. And it's called Break Through the Barriers of Redundancy to Get Back into Work, an A to Z How-To Guide. And it's still very effective to this day, because it literally teaches people how to take job descriptions and person specifications and match their CV and their cover letter to those job descriptions and person specifications, so that people are more likely to get interviews and get back into work. It also goes through all the mindset when you're redundant, because I've been made redundant a number of times in my life, 3 times, and I've also been in management. So I've got the knowledge of the management side of things, recruitment, and also being recruited as a person who was redundant. So it gives an overall good balance of both sides.
Right. Well, I am interested in all of those things, but we won't get into it. My main thing was just how these different elements in what you're doing fitted together, and how they came about. So in other words, the communication skills existed before this, but this is what I notice is that you do concentrate on this topic now.
Yeah. So I started my YouTube show on asexuality in 2015. I started holding meetups that year as well, asexual meetups, in-person meetups. So although I found out I'm asexual in 2014, 2015 is when I started my actual YouTube show. And I used to work at hospital radio years ago, so I have a background in media. I studied media studies at college, so I've always had an active interest in media. So I've done like work experience at radio stations, in newspapers and stuff like that. And then when I started doing my YouTube show, I kind of knew spiritually as well, because I'm a spiritual person, that it's my life purpose to get asexuality recognised as a sexual orientation in its own right throughout the globe, so no asexual lives in fear of ridicule ever again. And I believe, because I've been a leader with my retail background, like in management, leadership roles, that I have a loud voice, especially because I've done hospital radio for years, I was hospital radio presenter for years, that I can be a leader and a voice to the people who can't speak for themselves or don't want to speak for themselves because they're scared of what society will say. Because a lot of people don't come out about being asexual because it's scary, because a lot of people are like, you're not normal, you're a weirdo, you're frigid, something's wrong with you, you're dysfunctional, which is not true. but a lot of people are scared. So I can use my background, you know, as a manager in the past, my leadership roles, as well as combining my sexual orientation to bring asexuality to thought leaders, which is what I do. So I combine actual entrepreneurship nowadays with asexuality. So I've got a Make Money, Make Cash channel, which I teach people how to make money online.
Right.
I'm known as the asexual entrepreneur on there. So whatever I do, I always talk about asexuality to fulfill my life mission. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I'm going to play a short chat while I load up some more of your tracks later on, because I think we don't have a producer on this show, but JD is the producer on the Wild Show, which is the same time slot tomorrow. He reckons 5 minutes for chat is about long enough, unless he's involved in it when it goes to 10 minutes.
Oh, have we been talking for 10 minutes?
Well, I don't know. I've lost track of time, really. I just feel every so often we should have a track.
This sounds good.
So this is King Curtis.